on, guys? Welcome back to Jag's Garage. We're going to try to make our first vlog or day in the life. Just kind of messing around to see different video formats and whatnot. So I hope you guys enjoy. And let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do today is clean up the garage a little bit. Reset everything into all its spots so when we get back to working, all the tools are where they're supposed to be, and I don't know, I just kind of like everything to be clean. So I'll do a little time lapse of that. You guys can see me clean the garage, see where I put everything, and then we'll go from there. There's a little bit of an after. I probably should have showed the before, but you'll see it in the time lapse, I guess. Nothing too crazy. I just like to start with a pretty clean base, so when you're working on stuff, you don't have to worry about trying to find a spot to set everything and knowing where the tools are and whatnot. So everything's back where it should be for now, and I guess we can get started on our next task. I guess I should run through what I'd like to get done today. I have some wheels that I like to pressure wash for the BMW before I put them on next year after winter. And I have to do an axle seal on my Miata diff. And then I would like to do valve cover gaskets on the 93 Ford Explorer I just recently picked up. So I have the gasket kit for that. And then I also have the new rear end seals for the Miata. So we should be able to get both those things done today. It should be a nice day too, so I'm hoping to pressure wash those wheels, but it's not a big deal if I don't get time to do so. But I figured while I was doing all that, I could try to start picking up the camera and seeing how it goes, making a video about it. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on to starting the Miata's rear end. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by jacking the rear end up. All right, now that we got the car jacked up, it's kind of hard to tell. It probably just leaked all its fluid out, so it's not super noticeable now. But you could see the traces of where it used to be leaking right there. So, it's always a good thing just to do those seals. And I just put this rear end in. It's a braced 1.8 diff. And it's actually welded too. So if you watch... Well, that's concerning. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get these wheels off so we can get... And we're gonna do the other side as well. So we're both at the same time. All right, now that the wheel's off, we're gonna go ahead and start on the left side. And we're just gonna take off this upper camber bolt here, or upper control arm bolt, and see if we can flex the knuckle down enough just to get that axle out of the differential, and we'll replace the seal. We don't really need to take the whole axle out of the hub and everything. And I just put these adjustable control arms in like not that long ago, less than a month ago, so this should come out pretty easy. What I'm gonna use is it's 14 on both sides, so I'll use an impact and a wrench. If you don't got 6-point wrenches, I would highly advise you to look into some, because they are pretty nice to not strip stuff out, and they're kind of rare. So I found a set of Craftsman ones off of some guy on Facebook, and you know, they're just my throwaway non-ratcheting ones, but it's cool to have 6 points because you know you're just holding stuff like this. All right, now that we got that out, I'm hoping we can flex this down while pulling that axle out. We might have to do this brake. We'll take this brake off and set it off to the side just so we don't stretch these lines over here, and I'm just gonna take these bolts out back here. All right, I got those, there were 14s on the back of this. The e-brake is on. Let me go release the e-brake and then grab a bungee cord or something to hold it up there. All right. There we go. There we go. Now it's nice and out of the way over there, and the lines are not all tight, so that'll be perfect. All right, so now that I got everything off, I'm going to try to pry down on this while prying inside of there on the bottom to get that axle out. In hindsight, I should lower this lower control arm bolt. Because it's, I got the axle out. So whatever deflects is not down. Get it all down. Dang, these things are long. This is probably easier, 2 people. We don't have 2 people. Crap. I think I need to do this lower control arm bolt over here. Let me do that real quick. I'll come back. Cooked now, if it wasn't before. Whew. Damn, this sucks. Huh. Alright. Well, mission failed. I am going to... I also could not get this nut off, or this bolt out, seized, as usual. So I'm going to take this nut off and get the axle out of the hub first, and then pull the entire axle out, which really sucks. But we're here, we need to get it done, so let's get to it. Alright. So yeah, I just took the whole axle out. Got the nut off. A little bit easier that way. I probably should have did that from the start. Now, I'm going to try to get that seal out without messing up the diff. So, let you guys watch me mess up my expensive differential. That'll be fun. That is the spring for the seal. So, yeah, that's no good now. All right. And what you're really trying to watch is that you don't scratch that interface of where the seal goes, because if you pry too far and then you gouge it, the new seal isn't going to have a flat surface, and it's going to leave that little channel for all the new oil to seep through your new seal. But I didn't feel it and I don't see it, so I think we're good. And I am okay to install my new seal. That looks pretty minty. Let's clean this area up. And then I'm gonna put some RTV on my seal before I install it because I don't know, I wanna try something new and I don't really wanna come back in here. So here's the new seal. I'm not sure what purpose this has. I think it's so the axle has something to butt up against, but it's not actually a sealing surface. All the sealing is done here on this flange. And it goes in like this. Something to note is when you're installing you should try to find something that fits around, that doesn't damage this, and presses on that edge where all the support is, because that's where the metal is. So you should press it in there. If you just beat it in by like a single point, you can dent it, which will then ruin the entire sealing surface of the seal, and all this effort's wasted. I found that here's a 2-inch intercooler piece that I have, and if I am careful with it, it'll fit perfectly around that seal as I rip the new seal. Bam. So now it even holds it in, which is really neat. And the seal is on the inside there, so it's safe, and it puts that flange right on the big flat part, and it puts all the pressure, even if I'm hammering here, it'll see that pressure all the way around when I'm hammering it in. So that's something to take note of. And, you know, anyway, I'm gonna clean up that flange up there, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of black RTV, because it's oil resistant, for a little bit of lube to help it slide in, but also I don't think it's gonna hurt anything, and it'll seal. It'd probably be a pain in the ass to take out again in the future, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. Right now, I just don't want it to leak. So I got this all cleaned up already. I'm gonna take a little bit of black sealant, not a lot. Just gonna take a little sealer, just a real thin coat all the way around. And then, so now I got a little sealer on it. I'm gonna take it, put it up there. Let's see if I can just hand press it in. It looks pretty good already, which that's a little loose for my liking, which is why I'm happy I did that sealer. But we're gonna just do a couple little love taps with the hammer. Bam. That seal is now fully installed and should never ever leak again, right? Right. And then same thing for the other side, and we are good to go. Bam. Side back into the hub here. Stop pulling it out. And we are good to go. And that side is now all done. Beautiful. All right, you can watch me reassemble this outside portion. Bam. So I'm gonna use that to hold tension on this so I can push this axle all the way through to get to these threads. Start your axle nut, and you never want to beat on the outside of your axle when you're trying to get it through the hub, because it'll flare this flange a little and it won't fit through, or you could even damage the threads. If you have to, the best way, if you have to, or you feel like you really need to hit it with a hammer, is to thread that nut on backwards until it's flat with the inside, and that way you won't damage the threads, but you also can't mushroom it because the bolt or the nut will hold its shape. And you can always replace the nut if you damage it really, really bad. So that's the safest way to do it wrong. Okay. Make sure she's good and tight. And reassemble the rest of this. Cool. Oh, you never paused the video. This isn't going to be labeled a how-to video, but I do see the benefit of giving you guys some tips while I'm in the middle of jobs, because it's very useful on any car, and I'm not going to exactly explain how to do something. There's better videos on how to do this, I'm sure, out there, but if you ever end up doing an axle on your own car, or whatever it is, it's cool to know that stuff about the bolt and the hub, and seeing different techniques, because it is pretty general, and it should help you get it done on your car. So, alright, so I'm going to do this side. You guys kind of get the gist, and I am pretty beat because I am out of shape and I don't like working on cars. I just do it. So I'm going to put you on a time lapse, and you guys can watch me do it in ×10 speed because, yay, why not? I will update you once I get it all back in, though. I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like, too. Again, this is kind of a test video, trying different things, different formats, see what you guys like, see what I like, and see how I like editing it. So I will all right, so now I'm actually going to do a drain and fill on this differential I have lost. You always want to start with removing the fill plug because if you empty it and can't undo it, there you go. So that's good. I'm kind of curious to see how full it is. So I'm going to take this out, lose the washer for it. Why would they be the same size? That'd be silly. Alright, it's draining. You can tell the fluid's not too bad. I'm more concerned with that there isn't any. But I am gonna go to the store and grab some new fluid, and then we'll come back and fill it back up. Alright, so I'm back from the store. I cleaned this off. I probably should have showed you guys, but it was pretty bad. Had a bunch of metal flake on it. So that sucks. I'm sure this diff is feeling the hurt right now, feeling the old burn. I'm gonna put a little Valvoline 7590. I like the Valvoline because it comes in this bag. And whoever's idea it was to make this bag was genius. It said it should take right around a quart. That looks about right. So, cool. Close this up. Spray it off, wipe it down so we can tell if it still leaks. And we are done with this job. All right. Perfect. On to the next thing. All right. So now that that job is done, here's the old seals. They didn't look too bad, but both of them were missing the springs on the inside here. And obviously didn't have fluid in it, so it did leak it. Here's the aftermath. I'm gonna have to clean this up again. And I also went into my storage and grabbed my 2 other wheels because I was hoping I had better offset. But I think it's actually worse. Here's the one. And I like the gold set more, but I was just hoping that these would tuck a little better. And here's a gold. So I think I'm going to stick with the gold because I like that they're a little bit deeper dish, and I like that look. And that means I can definitely take these off and officially put them up for sale and hopefully get a little bit of money back out of them, which would be cool. Other than that, I'm going to clean up the garage again, put all these tools away, move the car out of the driveway, and then I'll probably take this thing for a little rip, make sure it doesn't make any noise, or if it does, I don't know, I guess sell the wheels and buy a new differential. So that'll be fun. And then I'm thinking the next task we can do is it's starting to be getting a little nicer out. I want to take these. I just bought these wheels for my BMW. And before I put them on the car, I'd like to clean them, especially the backside. And just kind of clean them, detail them up, and then I'll probably just put them in the shed as well until next year. But I'd like to get those out, pressure wash them, and clean them really good and get that done too. So I'll catch up with you guys here in a minute. Let me clean up, and we'll start on that. So I'm gonna clean up all these wheels real quick. I'm just kind of doing that because it looks fun, and they were really dirty, and honestly it's making a big difference. But I started on this one. I decided I'll pick up the camera because that's the whole point of this, is to start recording. So I'm just gonna time lapse the rest of these and add it in the video. I think it'd be cool to watch. So, gotta make an outro. Today we accomplished getting the axle seals in the rear end of the Miata. We went to the parts store, we got fluid, filled it up. We were able to get those successfully installed, put back together. I drove it. It drives good and smooth, no noises. I also picked up a new gas tiller because it came into one for free, and you can't say no to free stuff with a motor. I was able to clean and degrease those wheels and get those put away, so next year all I have to do is pull them out and they'll be shiny and ready to go, and it makes me feel better and be easier next year. We also messed with the Explorer, but I didn't really take too much video of that, but I just charged the battery, and that should be it. Oh, and we cleaned up the garage, which I cleaned up again, so it's still clean currently. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more videos, stick around, and if you have any notes or stuff you'd like to see or stuff I could do better, leave in the comments. Of course, I'll read them. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day.